Hi everyone, my name is Robert Hoyle, and I'm working as an intern at the Cosumnes River College Library. That's a community college in the Sacramento area, and I'm going to walk you through a little bit of what I do during a normal shift at the reference desk online for the library. Sorry if I keep looking down at my camera down at the bottom. So usually I work in about 4-hour shifts. I'm responsible for covering the reference desk, which means answering questions through email, answering live chat questions, and having research appointments with students who set up their research appointments ahead of time, or sometimes they set them up during the shift. And during my downtime, I have a couple other kind of side projects that I'm also working on, and I'll kind of walk you through some of those as well. So the first thing I do when I get on to start my shift, I go to this page where I have access to a bunch of the different links that I might need. The main ones I use are lib answers, which is here. This is where emails get sent to the library. Students can ask all kinds of questions. And so, I haven't done any the last couple days because my shifts are on Fridays, but or my main shifts are on Fridays. And so I'll answer questions here. And oftentimes we refer students to FAQs that we've already developed that are part of the library webpage, and I'll show those in a little bit. So this is where I answer the emails that come into the library. One of my big parts of my job is answering live questions for people in chat. And I do that here at the CRC reference desk. Right now I don't have anyone chatting with me, but this is where I would see their messages, and you can respond to them in real time. It's just a live chat service. So here I answer questions, help people either find resources or just answer questions about how to check out books. Since we're still allowing checkout, even though we're operating entirely remotely, you can still check out books. So helping people with that process, helping people check out laptops if necessary, sometimes helping with technology, things like that. So those are kind of the two main things that can kind of come up at any time while I'm working. And then during the research appointments, which are probably the main thing that I do or on my reference shifts, during those research appointments, people schedule them ahead of time, and I send them a link to a Zoom meeting. And then with the Zoom meeting, we'll work on whatever they need to work on. Usually they'll let me know a little bit about their topic ahead of time, so I can they'll at least say like what their research topic is, and so I can start kind of looking for places that might be useful for them. But I think the most important thing for me in working with students' research questions is that they know how to find information themselves after the meeting is over, and that it's not just me finding 3 scholarly sources for their essay for them and then they're all done. I would rather help them find one. Maybe I'll demonstrate a little bit and I'll show you kind of what I would do, and then I like to have the student share their screen if they're able to, and then kind of look for one themselves so that we can kind of talk through the process that way, and let them kind of do it for themselves, just so that I want them to feel like they could go and do this again on their own when I'm not there. And so the way I do that, I take them here to the library's homepage, Cosumnes River College Library. There's a couple different things we can do. We usually go over OneSearch a little bit, but I like to show them how to use specific databases first before going over OneSearch, because I think sometimes OneSearch is actually a little bit overwhelming for students. And so I'll take them over to the research tab here, and then I'll show them research guides, research databases, and then the FAQs that I was talking about earlier are right here. And so I'll also show you those. We'll just look at the FAQs first. This is just where people can answer. A lot of times people's chat questions are better answered by these pre-designed FAQs that we've already made. So sometimes I'll just link them to these and see if that's helpful. And then, and then sometimes I have to elaborate a little bit. Okay. And so here are the research guides. Research guides, I usually tell people, are a pretty good place to start because they're designed specifically for individual classes. So if you're taking COM 301 with Professor Hendrickson, you might want to use this specific guide because there's already going to be relevant resources in there. Here's the little chat box if people want to chat. So this is a good place to start just to see if your class already does have a research guide, then that can be really helpful. Otherwise, if it doesn't, that's totally fine. Then I'll take them to the database page, and then here we usually look for databases that might be useful for them depending on what their project's about. So I had someone the other day who was working on an art history project. So I showed them how some of these sources are better for finding scholarly articles, like Academic Search Complete can be really good, JSTOR, things like that. But then if they're actually looking for actual images to use as sources for their paper, then something like ArtStore or JSTOR can both be good for that. But you won't find as much of that in something like Academic Search Complete. And one reason why it's good to kind of use individual databases too is just something like OneSearch can be really difficult to actually narrow down what you're looking at enough to kind of really get some useful resources, especially if you're doing an art project. It can be really hard to find individual works of art, or if you're finding too many articles but not enough visual resources. So I like to take people here so that they can search by specific topics. And then I guess the last thing that I'd want to show, and kind of like what I do in my downtime, because there's not always someone in chat or I'm not always doing a research appointment. Some things that I do work on are the research guides. Oops, there we go. Working on, so I've been working a little bit on the APA style guide to kind of update it. And then also the FAQs page. Sometimes what I'll do is I'll either look back through like the FAQs page and see if everything's up to date, or I'll look back through other answers that the other librarians have given for specific students' questions, just to kind of get a sense for how all the other full-time actual professional librarians how they actually interact with the students and kind of what their conversations look like. So just looking back and like reading through the transcripts of these other interactions can be really helpful for me to just kind of learn how they do it. And then I guess the last project that I also will work on sometimes in my free time, is I've been working on I've been using LibWizard a little bit to develop, in this case, it's a tutorial for how to do APA citation. And so, from here, if I know that, if I don't have anyone in chat right now, or I don't have a research appointment, then I can come in here and, work on this to develop a tutorial just to kind of give students a practical way of kind of getting a hands-on experience learning about APA citation. So that's usually what I do. I usually work in 4-hour shifts, like I said. Yeah, so that's my my basic day in the life. I kind of just rotate between those things depending on if I have an appointment or not. Yeah, so thanks for listening, and I hope that was useful. And have a good day.